name is Fike, and I'm the founder of Chaos to Come. Chaos to Come is a senior move management company, which means we help older adults, seniors, and their families through the transition of moving from one home to another home. Today we're going to talk about how to help people get their minds and their arms around what I call right sizing. I don't like to call it downsizing because there's a lot of negative connotations that go with that word. It's really right sizing. And what I want them to take away from today is the fact that this isn't a miserable, horrible thing. It's actually a really good thing. It feels good, it can be fun, it can be joyful, it can be lightening. Yes, it has its difficult moments, but the end goal is so awesome, and getting there can be a great process. Anybody here recently moved into a smaller home or gone through kind of the downsizing process once? 2, 3, 4. What was the most difficult thing you had to deal with besides for Candace? Nothing comes to mind. It was easy. What was the hardest thing for you?
Personal items and furniture.
Personal items and furniture. Because you don't know what to do with the memories, and nobody wants the brown furniture. Right, exactly. We all of a sudden accumulate our mom's stuff, and our dad's stuff, and our husband's mother's stuff, and our husband's aunt's stuff, and it all comes where? In our house. Not to mention our kids, who move their bodies out but think we're free climate-controlled storage, right? So we're not necessarily downsizing. This is actually a really good thing, and I want you to think about it as a journey to a really awesome place, to a place where we're more comfortable. A lot of times people think about this process as torture. It's hard. It's not. It can actually be fun. Don't go into it thinking that this is horrible. This is actually lightening your load. It's something that can be really joyful. It can be fun. It can be a walk down memory lane. It's a time to celebrate and honor the people that you've loved in your life and all the great things that you've done. You're not losing those things. You're just getting rid of extra stuff. Make it a good time. Plan something fun to do after your right-sizing time, or give yourself a reward or a treat afterwards. Go ahead and look at it as a positive thing. Attitude is everything. What I've learned over the last 5.5 years is that this is a journey. It's not something that you can instantaneously do in a couple of days. It takes a long time to get to where you're going, and you really need to focus on that end goal, which in this case is moving to a gorgeous community, and you have to be prepared to go through this journey. It's going to have ups and downs, it's going to have highs and lows, but the key is really to be kind to yourself. Keep working at it, keep chipping away, keep moving forward, fall down 7 times, get up 8, keep your sense of humor, make it fun, keep going, and you will get there, and it will totally be worth it. Don't try to sprint it, look at it as a marathon. Pace yourself and just keep moving forward towards the goal. How many people here use every room in their house? Every room. How many of them do you use for storage? 0. I tricked you with that, but you really do use every room in your house. But they've downsized, right? So the people that have been in their home for 52 years, do you use every room in your house? For storage. Exactly. Exactly. When we talk about this, we're not talking about letting go of memories, of people, of loved ones, of any of those things that are really important. We're just talking about stuff, material things that you have and you've collected. The back part of the statement is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. Anybody here lost weight successfully? Nobody? Seriously? Okay, you again. Awesome. And here, Mr. Bill. So when you lost weight, what made you successful?
You had to think about where you were going.
You had a goal. Perfect. What else? When you lose weight, or you quit smoking, or you want to go to college and you got to get your degree, you have a goal. What else do you need? Discipline, perseverance, right? Motivation, right? So it's going to take time. We're going to go up, and it's going to be hard sometimes, and we're going to get sweaty, and it's going to be difficult. We're going to get to the top of a peak, and it's, yes, we're going to be so excited. We did it, we did it, we did it, we got there. And then the next day we might cry because we're leaving a home where we raised our children, or maybe where we lost a spouse. What I really want people to take away from this is the fact that
They really need to think about what they love, what makes them happy, what brings them joy, not what other people think, not what tradition sort of says, but what is their right size. So for this, I talk about my little bobblehead. It's a really ugly little bobbly head thing, but you might think it's ugly, toss it away. To me, it was something my grandfather gave me. So it means something very, very special and dear. It's dear to me. So I'm going to keep it. You're going to toss it. There's no right or wrong. No good or bad, just what's best for you, the person making the decision about your new home.
What is your right size? I want you to really think about that. I kind of touched on it when I said we usually use 3 or 4 rooms in our house. What is the right size for right now? I don't know if you can tell, but those are all the exact same dresser. The one that she likes with the red pants is probably a brighter colored one. And my more conservative people might maybe like the lighter color, or they may actually prefer not painted at all, just brown wood, right? There is nothing right or wrong, good or bad about any of these. All that matters is what makes you happy. So as you go through this journey, think about what's right for you, not what's right for your kids, not what's right for, what your mom wanted, not what's right for the neighbors, what's right for you, and focus on that. Tools. Anybody here ever tried to build something without the right tools? Yeah, how'd that go? It doesn't work so well. I once put together an entertainment center with a butter knife, which meant that it needed duct tape afterwards. I'm pretty sure the butter knife and the duct tape were not in the instruction manual, but I did it. But it was not easy, it did not work the way it was supposed to. The same thing with right sizing. What I recommend is you grab some sort of tote or basket or something, and that's where you keep your supplies for this process. Some of the things that we love are removable colored dots. What we do is we use each color to represent a different person or place. So for example, pink might mean daughter A, orange might be daughter B, green might mean go with me to my new home. Please be sure to buy removable dots if you do this. I once made the mistake of buying permanent ones. You laughed. It was not fun. So make sure that they are removable, and you can buy these at Walmart, CVS, any place. They're super inexpensive, super easy. What we find happens is when you've dotted things, you're kind of checking it off. And whether or not you realize it on a conscious level, on a subconscious level, there's some comfort in knowing that you've made decisions about all of those things. And it also helps you identify things that you may have missed. So if you don't have a dot on something, that means, oh, we got to figure out where that's going to go. I have 2 different colored garbage bags here. I always recommend 2 different colors. I call this green, some people call it black. On the green bag, I always put garbage. Green, go, garbage, gone, right? I use my white bags or clear bags for donations, things I'm going to give away. For example, we have a lot of towels or blankets. Animal shelters love those. We'll put the towels in them and we'll write with a Sharpie, animal shelter. You can write on these and you can see in them. Otherwise, when you're using all the same types of bags, about 2 hours in or an hour in, you're like, and then you're digging in the bag, and then you can't really tell. It's trash. Is it really trash? Could be trash. And usually things get mixed up. So keep 2 different colored bags to help you keep things sorted and keep them straight. I can't say it enough. Label, 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 label. I pack for a living. I cannot remember what I put in a box a half an hour after I packed it. I think I'm going to. I'm totally going to remember it. And then what happens? I start doing 50 other things and I go back to it and I have no idea what's in that daggone box. So please label things. You cannot label things too much. We love painter's tape because it sticks to pretty much everything. It stays better than sticky notes. And you can peel it off and put it on something else. So I can put a box of socks, let's just say, label it socks with painter's tape, and then when I decide I need a bigger box for my socks, because I got a lot of socks, I can just peel that tape off and put it on a different box. I haven't ruined the box, and I know when it is. So painter's tape is a great one. As you start to do this, it's always great to have a buddy or a partner. I will caution those of you who are married that your spouse may not be the best partner. Right? We tend to marry opposites. We tend to have one person that likes to collect and another person that likes to throw away. And that's very common. So your spouse is kind of the default. I'm giving you permission to say, you know what, I love you very, very much. You are the best husband ever, but go play in the garage. I'm gonna work here. That's okay. The second default tends to be a child, usually a daughter. And sometimes that's awesome, sometimes it's not. Because then you've got all those years of emotional history coming into your decision making. And what we want is for this to be about you. So be careful and mindful about who you choose as your partner. You want to be sure it's someone that's honest. Do not bring a girlfriend that tells you look gorgeous every day. The other tools. If you do this right, you will see places that you have not seen in decades. And while you weren't looking, what was happening? The bunnies were having a party, right? So have some cleaning supplies handy. Speaking about dust bunnies and other schmuckasy things that collect in awful places, if you're going to be in a basement or an attic, even if you don't have respiratory issues, please wear a mask. And if you remember anything from today, when you think of the mask, you want an N95 rated mask. And the reason that an N95 rated mask, is good is that it actually will filter mold. And mold tends to hide in nasty places like basements. And as you're going through those places, please always keep a phone, especially if you're alone. Because if you're in an attic or a basement or in a closet and you're reaching or you're bending or you're stepping up, that's a great time to fall or maybe hurt your back or twist something. And you want to be able to call for help. So please have a phone with you.
One of the most important things as you start to go into this is to have a plan, right? And to know how you're going to get it done. Make sure you know what your plan of attack is before you start so that you have a strategy for getting it done. So there's two different approaches to going through the right sizing process. The traditional is like the floor plan method. So I'm going to tackle my garage this weekend. I'm going to do my master closet this weekend. I'm going to do my kitchen next week. That is kind of a room by room, or what I call a floor plan method.
So this weekend we're going to tackle your closet or your master bedroom, and then we're going to tackle my daughter's bedroom, and then we're going to tackle the garage, and then we're going to do the attic and the basement. This is a great way to do it. Just have a system and figure out the way you're going to do it. But what I'll tell you is, please don't say, I'm going to tackle the garage this weekend. It's taken you years to get that garage the way it is. You are not going to undo it in one weekend. Same thing with a kitchen or an attic. So rather than saying, I'm going to tackle the garage this weekend, I'm going to tackle the workbench this weekend. I'm going to tackle the pantry closet this weekend, not the kitchen, just the pantry. I'm going to tackle the closet in my daughter's bedroom. So work your way through the house, but set up reasonable goals, because what happens when you say, I'm going to do the garage this weekend, and then you get like a third of it done, it looks worse than when you started, and you're tired and sore for a week. How do you feel? Defeated. Ugh, I can't do this. This is too hard. I'll never get it done. But if I do the workbench or I do a linen closet, and my linen closet looks squeaky clean when I'm done, then I feel good. Then I'm proud of myself. Then I really got something done. So set yourself up for success by taking small pieces of the area and doing those first.
What we actually recommend is sort of a modified spin on the Marie Kondo method, which is going by type of thing. What we find is that women tend to have shoes in the laundry room and the garage and the bedroom and the kitchen where they took them off, or their favorite chair. So you've got the same thing in multiple rooms. What we recommend is you actually gather everything all together and then do your right sizing, because your spin or your look at it will be very different when you see how much you have in total, and you make your decisions based on that rather than based on what might just be in one spot.
If I go room by room and I work on the shoes in any one given area, I'm probably going to get rid of some, but keep some, because it doesn't look like there are all that many. But if I collect all of my shoes from all over the house and I put them in one place, I'm going to look at those shoes very, very differently. Once you've figured out what your plan is, I want you to write it down. What happens when we write something down or we schedule a date on a calendar? It becomes right. It becomes real. And now we've made a commitment, and we've said it, and we've put it out in the universe, so by golly, we better do it. So I want you to write it down, schedule days and times for yourself to work on things.
So there's 4 steps to right sizing once you actually get to it. The first thing you want to do is gather all of your things together, whether you're in one room or whether you're doing it by type. Then you want to sort them, so put all the towels together, put all the sheets together, put all of the hammers together and the power tools together. Whatever it is, gather, sort, and then make your decisions. What am I going to keep? What am I going to give away? What am I going to donate? What am I going to trash?
Number 4, get to it. These are the 4 steps of actually physically right-sizing. Whether you use the floor plan method or what we recommend, the by type method, you want to gather everything, you want to sort it, you want to make your decisions, and then you want to disperse it. Number 1, number 2, number 4 are physical chores. They're pretty easy, right? That's just the work part of it. Number 3 is where we seem to get stuck. The decisions, right? That's where it gets hard. 99% of the time with clients, they know the answer, it's their gut. They just have to have the strength to follow it. You know what's right. You know if you really love something, you know if you don't. Elwin, would you please tell these kind people what the 7 days of the week are?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Sunday. You did very good. Some people struggle with that, but you did good. Awesome. Those 7 days. Did anyone hear him say, someday? Someday. No. Someday is not one of the 7 days of the week. I'm here to tell you that those someday came, went, is gone. It's okay. I'm giving you permission to let go of all of your Sundays because you were busy taking care of a spouse, taking care of children, working, cleaning house, doing all those things that we do that keep us so busy. It's okay that you never got to those. It's all right. Just let them go. It's okay. It's all right. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing bad. Nobody's judging you. It's a self-imposed guilt. Let it go. This is my got stuff chart, and this works for everything from china to shoe boxes, whatever you want. So the first question is, do I love it? So when I say, do you love it, I mean, do you really love it? Do you really, really love it? Yes, I do. If you say yes, you do, will it fit or does it fit? If you say no, do I need it? I had a really smart man in Fort Mill say last week, well, you're forgetting about I might need it, maybe someday. True, but what do we say about some days? And do you really need to store it and keep it on the off chance that maybe someday you're going to need it? So when you say, do I need it, I really want you to be honest about it, and I want you to think about how many you need. If you do, and you say yes, drop down, does it fit? Keep it. If not, do I use it? Same thing with this. I don't mean did you use it once 70 years ago. I mean, do you use it regularly? And will you use it in your next phase of life? So do I use it? If you say no, I can't use it, I don't use it, can you repurpose it? So think about repurposing. The internet is like your best friend for that. Pinterest, any of those websites, you can Google things and find great ways to creatively repurpose. Then you want to say, can someone else use it? If nobody can use it, then it's time to just let that sucker go. Gone. But if somebody else can use it, is it worth money? If it is worth money, you can go ahead and sell it. I will tell you that selling things, the amount of effort and time you're willing to put into it directly corresponds almost always to how much money you will get. So if you're willing to sell it yourself, list it online, post it, answer the questions, measure it, take another picture of it upside down, coordinate with people, have them come to your house, you'll get probably the most money. If you just want it gone, auction is probably the best, or donation. And the sad truth is that the generation now does not want the Hummels and the china and the dining room furniture, or any brown furniture for that matter. The Henredon dining room set that somebody paid $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 for, Nobody wants it. It's awful. It's gut-wrenching. It's brutal. But the reality is, it is what it is, and your things are only worth what somebody is willing to pay today in an arm's length transaction. So all that it's worth is what it's worth today. And again, this is where the internet becomes one of your best friends, because you can search for things to see what they're worth. Anybody here, if you saw your mom's handwriting, would you recognize it, or your dad's handwriting? You nodded yes right away, so I'm going to come ask you, what would you feel? Do you feel anything when you see your mom's handwriting? She did, right? And like when I see my mom's handwriting or my grandma's, I feel something in my gut, like a little, I don't know what it is, but it's love. It's something there, right? I feel it. So when you're giving things, be mindful, and if you have time to write a little note, write a little handwritten note. Your grandfather and I got this when we were traveling in Europe. Because someday there'll be someone further down your line who will remember you and who will feel that way when they see your handwriting. So you have the ability to give that gift to your grandchildren or great-grandchildren when they see your handwriting. Last tip, celebrate. Have a party. Go swimming. Invite your friends over and show them your closet, right? Do it. Have fun with it. It doesn't have to be miserable. Back to the point at the beginning, all about attitude. Repeat after me. Just because it's for me. Doesn't, oh wait, no, just because it's free. Just because it's free. It's not for me. That's it. We totally blew the punchline, but that was it. Just because it's free doesn't mean it's for me. You can say no. That's okay. Ann told you so. That's it. Thank you. You're good. You were perfect. I messed up my line there, but there you go. We have a tendency to, because something is free and they're handing it out, what do? We take it, and then we bring it home. And what do we do with it? Shove it in the junk drawer. I'm going to leave you with one very quick story. We were moving Mr. and Mrs. Helms. He was going into assisted living. She was going into independent living. So we were kind of packing separate. And I was packing, you know that cabinet above the refrigerator, like where nobody ever goes, right? I opened it up, and in there are his pipes and his tobacco. Miss Helms had hid them for him. Now the fact that he was on oxygen probably was why, but that was okay. So I packed up his pipes and his tobacco. I knew he wasn't going to be smoking at this point, but I put them in the box for his room. I unpacked his room. I put it in his drawer. And when Mr. Helms was not in the room, I wheeled him over to the drawer, and I opened it up, and there was this pipes laying. You remember the little spinny thing with the thing and the tobacco in center? So I had it in there, and he just, like the Holy Grail. He had found his pipes. Oh my gosh, he was so happy. So he looks and he says, yeah, I want to smell it. So we're in the room, and I'm like, please, Lord, don't let the people come in the room and see me. I didn't want to get busted. We're smelling tobacco. I'm opening it up. And you know how the pipes, I probably have it on my nose now, but you can smell, like still, and that smell brings something back, right? It's that memory, right? So he says to me, puts his hand on my arm, and he says, sweetheart, sometimes you just have to stop and smell the tobacco. And I thought, you know what? That's rather profound, right? So as you go through this journey up and down, in and out, you find stuff you haven't seen in 10, 20, 30, or in their case, 50 years. I want you to be sure to stop and smell your tobacco. I want you to take a second to feel those good memories, to remember the trips, to remember the times, to honor them, to be grateful for them, to thank them. Take a second to feel it. It's pretty stinking awesome. If you've got tobacco, you had a good life.
I was really, really close with my mom. My mom was my best friend. And she lived in Connecticut. I moved down here. And at the age of 68, she was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia, which is a really aggressive front lobe form of dementia that just eats away the front part of your brain. And she went from an incredibly brilliant woman who was active to someone who could barely function in a very short period of time. I had to move her from home to independent to assisted to memory care while I was living here, and I had just gotten separated, and I was working full time. And so it became this really brutal journey of bouncing back and forth and guilt and worry, trying to make sure that she was settled and she was safe, and yet I was balancing it with the family. And what I realized was that when it was over, there's a huge need for people. We don't live close to our families as much anymore as we used to, and people need help. And that's a time of stress and overwhelm and sometimes heartbreak, and it can be brutal if you don't have the right help, and families can't always help, and it's not their fault. It's not that they don't want to help. I wanted to be there every day for my mom. I couldn't. So I decided that what I wanted to do was be that person that was there to help other people going through a similar journey. So I left a really successful corporate career and ended up starting the company. I chose the name because chaos is kind of what it feels like when you're going through that. It's stressful and it's overwhelming and it feels like everything's flying around your head and you don't know what to do. And I just wanted to be able to say, you know what? It's okay. We got this. We'll handle the logistical piece of it. We'll hold your mom's hand. We'll get her there where she needs to be. It's going to be okay. Lean on us and we'll get you there and you can feel calm.